Arrest 7 at Kano Airport for drug trafficking. And on the foreign scene, Vladimir Putin accuses Western countries of global food crisis.
This is Freedom Global News.
Good evening, you're listening to Freedom Global News on 99.5 FM. I am Zahra Zannah. Today is the 24th of June, 2022. And now the news in full. The Supreme Court today struck out the suit President Muhammad Buhari and the Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, Mr. Abubakar Malami, filed to void Section 8412 of the Electoral Act 2022. Buhari and Malami had filed the suit on April 29 before the Apex Court through a group of private lawyers. A 7-member bench of the Supreme Court, led by Musa Dattijo Muhammad, unanimously struck out the suit, describing it as an abuse of court process. Justice Okmaye Agim, who delivered the lead judgment, held that the president, having earlier assented to Section 8412 of the Electoral Act 2022, cannot turn around to approach the court to strike it down. He added that the request by Buhari to the National Assembly to delete the provision amounted to constitutional violation. Other members of the panel consented to the lead judgment. They are Dattijo Muhammad, John Okoro, Amina Ogi, Lawal Garba, and Ibrahim Saulawa. The National Assembly is listed as the sole defendant in the suit. The Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission, ICPC, has uncovered cash from a property which the commission says belonged to a certain K. Salam construction company, a military contractor. In a brief statement titled ICPC Clears the Air and Media Report of Abuja Properties Raid and Seizure, the commission said its operatives raided a property in Wuse 2 of the Federal Capital Territory, FCT Abuja, on Thursday, 16 June 2022, between 5 p.m. and 12 a.m., in suspicion of money laundering. A statement signed by ICPC spokesperson Azuka Ogugwa said operatives of the commission recovered money and other items from the property. What was uncovered included 175.7 million naira, $220,965, some property documents, expensive cars, and accessories. Following the uncovering, the ICPC said it arrested the managing director of K. Salam Construction Company, Nigeria Limited, Mr. Kabiru Salo. The commission said investigations are ongoing, and as such, it prefers not to preempt the outcome of the inquiry as to avoid the frenzy of a media trial. Kano government has distributed working materials and tools to the government house press crew to enable them discharge their work efficiently and meet up with the digital media era. The State Commissioner of Information, Muhammad Garba, through the Office of the Senior Special Assistant to the Governor on Broadcast, made the distribution at the Coronation Hall today. He said the government will expand the training not only to those covering the State House, it would include other journalists covering other activities in the state.
There is need for us to continue to give more emphasis on training and the retraining of journalists. And I believe that is what has been done. Personally, I'm happy with the equipment that were purchased and distributed to our colleagues in the media industry. It is one of the best things that has ever done as far as the issue of training is concerned in Kano State. And
some of the beneficiaries expressed their happiness with the gesture.
It's a great opportunity. We have learned a lot. It's training that builds our capacity on how best to go about professional duty and how to do it in consonance with the international best practice.
I'm so excited about this training. It is one of the best things that have happened to us in Government House. Having to educate and build our capacity with all of the gadgets that have been given to us. It can never be enough to say thank you.
Correspondent Zahra Zannah reports that the event was attended by Chairman Correspondent Chabo, Chairman Nigeria Union of Journalists Kano Chapter, among others. And on sports, Nigeria's Flamingos have been drawn in Group B ahead of the Under-17 FIFA Women's World Cup, built to be staged in India. Also in the group are Germany, Chile, and New Zealand. Aisha Muhammad El-Lehman has details of this and other sports updates.
The draw ceremony took place at FIFA headquarters in Switzerland today. The Flamingos, who did not go inside a single goal in the qualifiers, are making a return to the competition after missing out the last time in 2018. The competition will run from 11th to 30th October in 3 countries. Meanwhile, Nigeria has forward Victor Mboma, who has linked Algerian club Molobian Oran on a 2-year contract. Mboma joined Molobia from 8-time Nigerian Professional Football League champions. The 25-year-old turned down overture from Algeria club. Mboma is currently the joint top scorer in the MBLF with 16 goals. The striker is expected to join the new teammate in July. In another update, Chelsea goalkeeper Kepa Arrizabalaga has told manager Thomas Tuchel that he wants to play more next season. Kepa, who has been linked with a move from Chelsea to join Nice, is not pleased with the playing time he has received under the manager Tuchel so far. The Spain international only made up 14 appearances that season and 15 in campaign that just passed. On tennis, Red Button Connected TV and mobile hub British #1 Emma Raducona has been run against Belgium Alison in the Wimbledon first round. The 2-time champion Andy Murray, who is trying to overcome an abnormal injury, faces Australia James Duckworth. Aisha Muhammad Eleman, Freedom Radio.
Global News is coming to you from Freedom Radio 99.5 FM. You can send your comments, opinions, and watch us live on Freedom Radio Nigeria on Facebook.com. You can get the link to the page on our website, freedomradionig.com. Welcome back. You're still listening to Freedom Global News on 99.5 FM. National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLA, says it has arrested 7 suspects for alleged drug trafficking at the Malam Aminu Kano International Airport, Kano, in May and June. Its commander at the airport, Mr. Sani Abubakar, made the disclosure today in Kano in commemoration of the 2022 United Nations International Day Against Drug Abuse and Trafficking. He said the suspects were arrested with Indian hemp, tramadol, and khat, among others, and would soon be arraigned. Abubakar added that increased manpower, provision of logistics, and enhanced staff welfare contributed to the positive strides the NDLA was making. The theme of the day is addressing drug challenges in health and humanitarian crisis. The streets of Kano metropolis has been ravaged by the issue of excess refuse disposal and lack of proper maintenance. This problem worsens especially during rainy season, which causes overflow of drainages as well as spillage of refuse on the streets, escalating horrible living conditions. Freedom Radio reporter Rahimat Shetu takes a look at the issue and files in this report.
The problem of dumping refuse on the streets, especially in some markets, is exacerbated during rainy season, where refuse is found on the streets due to spillage from drainages and gutters that have not been cleaned and maintained properly. This situation is usually caused due to the lack of a proper designated space used for refuse disposal, which in turn can cause some serious health risks like lung disease, health problem, skin irritation, problem or abnormality in breathing, as well as an unkempt environment. Flooding can be experienced as well due to the lack of clean and cleared waterways during heavy rains in the particular season. A Kano resident calls on the government to implement proper and efficient refuse disposal system.
So my advice to government is to provide or to encourage people on waste management and assist environmental officers for doing regular environmental sanitation.
Kano State Commissioner for Environment, Dr. Kabiru Ibrahim Gesu, highlights the efforts of the Kano State government in reducing improper refuse disposal.
More than 70,000 linear meters of drainages have been desilted in the state, and more than 1,600 trips of silted materials have been evacuated from the drainages. Very recently, we conducted a Keep Kano Clean exercise 2022, and presently the ministry, in collaboration with CapeGate, is conducting Keep Kano Clean initiative, which is meant to further clean and sanitize the state.
The challenge of improper refuse disposal is not uncommon across the state and the country at large. This has caused blocked drains and waste water flooding in the city. due to blocked drains which have greatly supported mosquitoes breeding and the spread of malaria. Rahima Chitu, Freedom Radio.
On the foreign scene, Russian President Vladimir Putin today said his country's military action in Ukraine was not responsible for the global food crisis, claiming that the West was preventing the export of Russian grain. Hawada Mikiawa has more details on this.
Vladimir Putin said the food market is unbalanced in the most serious way, addressing a BRICS Plus virtual summit that brought together the leaders of 17 countries, including China, India, Brazil, and South Africa. Putin accused Western countries, in particular the United States, of destabilizing global agricultural production with restrictions on the delivery of fertilizer from Russia and Belarus, and by making it difficult for Moscow to export grain. Putin added that rising prices on agricultural staples, such as grain, have hit the hardest developing countries, developing markets, where bread and flour are a necessary means of survival for the majority of the population. He also slammed the hysteria surrounding grain that has been trapped in Ukrainian ports since the start of Russia's military actions, saying that it does not solve any problems on the global grain market. Putin said Russia is a responsible actor on the global food market and is ready to honestly fulfill all its contractual obligations. Millions of tons of wheat and other grains are currently stuck in Ukraine's ports, either blockaded or occupied by Russian forces, and vessels face the danger of mines that have been laid in the Black Sea. Friday also marked 4 months since Russia sent tens of thousands of troops over the border, unleashing a conflict that has killed thousands of combatants and civilians, uprooted millions of people, and seen cities blasted to bits by Russian artillery and air raids. Washington and Brussels have hit Moscow with unprecedented sanctions, which have pushed Putin to seek new markets and strengthen ties with countries in Africa and Asia. Hawa Adamikiawa, Freedom Radio.
And in business, Abdurrahman Hamisuna Medina has updates.
Registration for the e-Naira Hackathon gears toward ideating innovative solution for the newly launched digital currency. Organized by the African FinTech Foundry, an innovative hub established to identify and accelerate innovative startups in Africa. In partnership with the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, is billed to open on June 27th and run till July 21st, 2022. In a statement issued by the organizers yesterday, said the event, which is billed to kick off from 4th August, is part of efforts to drive financial inclusion, facilitate macroeconomic growth, and integrate Nigerian economy to the world-leading economies through innovation and cutting-edge emerging technologies. The hybrid hackathon will bring together a team of talent entrepreneurs, developers, designers, solution developers, problem solvers, out-of-the-box thinkers, and code magicians from Africa to develop innovative solutions that will drive improved adoption of the e-Naira. Meanwhile, oil marketers said they had escalated their call for the increase in the pump price of petrol to the federal government, as the current cost of the commodities was no longer sustainable. Also, transporters on Thursday confirmed that they had resumed operations in full following last week raise in the freight rate being paid by the federal government for the transportation of petrol nationwide. The National President, Natural Oil and Gas Suppliers Association, Bennett Korea, said Nigerians would have to adjust the current reality as it was more feasible to dispense petrol at the approved rate of 165 naira litre in filling station after purchasing the product for about 170 naira litres in some private depots. Moving on to the prices of commodities, at the Wano market in Kano, 1 bag of beans goes for 40,000, 1 bag of maize for 20,000, while millet goes for 37,000 and wheat was 25,000. Abdurrahman Hamis Namadina, Freedom Radio.
And with that, we've come to the end of today's Global News. On behalf of the entire production team and I, Zahra Zannah, have a great weekend.
Freedom, 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 freedom.